When we're adding and subtracting two decimals, we always want to make sure that we line up the decimal points. If we line up the decimal points, that means the place values are going to be lined up. So when we write these problems vertically, I write 17.8, and then I add 16.513. It doesn't matter how long these numbers are. We got to make sure that these place values here in the 17.8 and the 16.513 are right above and below each other, lined up vertically. And if we want to fill out this number 17.8, remember we can always add zeros to the end of a number after a decimal point. So now we can just add these numbers together. We got 3, we got 1, 8 plus 5 is 13, carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 6 is 14, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And then the decimal point just comes straight down. Subtraction, very similar. 4.1 minus 2.389. Fill in the two zeros here. So now we have all the place values lined up because the decimal points are lined up. Now with this one it's going to be a little trickier. We're going to have to do some borrowing. So this 0 is going to become a 10. This 0 is going to become a 9, and we're going to have to borrow from here, so that's going to become 0. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. And we can't do 0 minus 3, so I'll borrow from here. The 0 will become a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. And the decimal point straight down. So when we're adding and subtracting, if you line up the decimals and just do the normal thing, the normal addition, the normal subtraction, we'll get the right answer every time. When we multiply two decimals, it's going to be very different than adding and subtracting. We don't have to actually line up the decimals when we do this. We're going to find where the decimal goes in our answer a different way. So in order to start this problem, I'm going to line them up vertically. I'm going to write them vertically. I'm going to put the number with more digits on top, because that's going to make my work easier later on. And then I'll put the number with fewer digits on the bottom, and we can start multiplying. So I got 7 times 7, that's 49. Carry the 4. 8 times 7 is 56. Add 4 to that, that's 60. Get the 6 here. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 6 is 20. Carry the 2. 0 times 7 is 0 plus 2 is 2. So 2009 on the top row. Start my next row off with a 0. 4 times 7 is 28. I don't need these numbers anymore. 4 times 7 is 28. Carry the 2. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 2 is 34. Carry the 3. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11. Carry the 1. 0 times 4 is 0, plus 1 is 1. And now we just have to add. 9, 8, 4, 3, 1. Now we just got to figure out where the decimal goes. Now to find where the decimal goes, we count up the number of decimal places in the problem itself. So if I look at this problem here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 total numbers behind the decimal point. Same thing if we look in the original problem. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all I have to do to find where the decimal goes in my answer is have the same number of digits behind the decimal. So there's 4 digits behind the decimal. So our decimal is going to go right here in between the 1 and the 3. I'll put the decimal there, and that's my answer. 1.3489. Let's try one more example with multiplication here. Make sure we have it down. So I'm going to line these up. 7.21. I have more digits in that one. I'll put it on top. Put the 3 on the bottom. And we're just going to multiply here. 1 times 3. We got 3. We got 6. And we got 21. Now I don't have to do another row because I only have that one digit. So I just got to figure out where my decimal is going to go. So the number of digits behind the decimal, I got 1, 2. And then in the bottom row, I don't have any because I just have 3. That's a whole number. So I got 1, 2 in the original problem, 2. If we see that, they should match. So all I'm going to do is have 1, two numbers behind the decimal over here, so my decimal is going to go right in between the 1 and the 6 here. So we put the decimal point, and we're done. 21.63. And we are good to go. All right, dividing decimals. Dividing is the worst. Dividing is the one that's the most different from the way we normally do things. So the first step when we're dividing decimals is we have to move the decimal in the second number, because we want to be able to divide by a whole number. It makes a lot more sense to split something into a whole number of groups. So for this second number here, I have to move this decimal over to the right twice, 2 spaces, in order to turn this from a 0.06 into just 6, so we're just dividing by 6. Now, in order to make sure that our answer will be the same, we have to also move the decimal in the first number after we do that. So the real problem that we're going to be dividing here is 58.92 divided by 6. So to set that up, we're just going to set it up like regular long division. We're dividing by 6, and we're dividing 58.92 by that 6. So we'll just go through and do our long division here. 6 goes into 58 9 times. That gives us 54. We'll subtract here. We'll have a 4. We'll bring the 9 down. So we have 49. 6 goes into 49 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. Subtract that. We get 1. Bring the 2 down. So we have 12. 6 goes into 12 twice. And 2 times 6 is 12, which gives us, when we subtract, we get 0. Now, because we have 0, and we're out of numbers in the problem to bring down, we don't have anything else to bring down, we are done with the division part. Now we just got to put in the decimal. When we're doing long division, we just move the decimal straight up. So the decimal goes after the 9. 9.82 is our final answer for example E. Example F, we're going to do the same first step. Slide that decimal, or this time we only have to do it once to change it from 4.5 to 45. So we're going to do it once here as well. So the problem that we're actually looking at is 380.7 divided by 45. Now this looks like a tough problem. How's 45 going to go into that number? So let's set it up. 45, 380.7. Now 45 doesn't go into 38. I know it's going to go into 380, so let's see how many times. If I do 45 plus 45, that's 90. So that's 2 times. If I do 90 plus 90, that's 180. So that's 4 times. And if I do 180 plus 180, I'm going to get 360. So that's 4 times for 180, 4 times for 180. So that's 8 times that 45 goes into 380. That's a tricky one. So I know 8 times 45 is going to give me this 360 that I already got here. So I'm going to write that down here. I'm going to subtract. So we have 20 left over, and then we bring the 7 down. Now, I already saw 45 goes into 207, right? 180 is pretty close to 207, and I can't add another 45 to that without going over 207, so that's 4 times. So we're going to have a 4 right here. Now, 4 times 45, I know that's 180, and when I subtract here, I get 7, and 20 minus 18, it's going to give me a 2 there. So 27. Now, 45 doesn't go into 27, and I'm not done here. So I need a 0. I can add a 0 after the decimal as much as I want. Now, if I bring that 0 down, I have 270. Now, if I take this 180 here and add a 90 to it, I get 270. So I know the 180, that's 4 times. 45 goes into 180 4 times. It goes into 90 twice. So altogether, that's 6 times to get 270. So we're going to put that 6 up there. 6 times 45 is 270. And when I subtract, I should be writing my minus signs, I get 0. So once I get 0, and I'm out of numbers to bring down, the problem's over, and we have our answer, except I got to make sure I put my decimal in there. So the decimal is here. We're just going to bring it straight up and put it behind the 8. So once we have that decimal there, we are done, and we have our 2 answers for our division problems. Put boxes around those.